All right, good to go. Yeah, I think first of all, happy Election Day to everybody out there. Let me start by again recognizing, like I did after the game, how grateful and how awesome it was to be in that home venue for the first time. Even with the 2,000 fans available to us, I think that may seem insignificant or trivial to some, but that's a huge deal right now in the morale of our team, the morale of everyone to get have those opportunities in that landscape. Our new era of football's with this infrastructure, both on campus and Allegiant, is going to be monumental in building things the right way. And so that was awesome to get that there. Saturday night was disappointing not to leave with the desired outcome. With that said, I think we showed improvement and growth from week 1 to week 2, which was a big goal, and that's what we wanted to see. We still got lots of areas to rise in. We had improved practices last week, which was something that's most important to me, is the way we practice. You're not going to have a byproduct show up unless you've got the build up to it, and I think they're learning to practice every day. We're still continuing teaching that, so that's awesome. They're battling through the game. I think it was good to see. They're working through some adversity. They're working through a lot of things, and that's a positive step in building what we want to build, and I think that's been really, really good for us. It was good to have a couple guys back to help boost a very thin roster, and now we got to stay healthier, and hopefully keep it, to keep advancing as much as anything, so we can have our type of practice and our type of regimen, which is demanding. That's just the way it happens, and so that piece of it, that element of it all, for us and the way we practice is really important. So it's a struggle right now with a huge roster attrition that we've got. That happens most of the time and often at a place where you start something real different and real new. And so we're no different than any other place in that regard. We're not in moral victories. There's a lot of good things that are happening in our new culture. And so, the continued goal is to build habits that afford winning. And that's what we're hoping to see in what we're doing. And that's be accountable and deliberate and physical and smart. And, and again, it's a different time. We're committed to laying the groundwork the right way. If that means teaching at a magnified level in a game environment, then that's what we've got to do. And but we're doing it all and everything. How we practice, how we eat, how we regenerate our bodies afterwards, how we study, how we work together under duress, how we think and how we act. Those are all what drives winning at any place for anybody who knows. And so we refuse to compromise those fundamentals and those standards and expectations. But again, I'm proud of the improved effort and execution from week 1 to week 2, and now we got to build from here. I think our guys did another good job. It's just kind of new for me, the midnight hours. They did a good job late night coming back to work on the next day, ready to be critiqued, ready to be coached and demanded of. I'm proud of them for that in that way. There's a lot of people in life who don't like to get up and get critiqued in that regard, and a lot of people who turn the other way. And so we're trying to teach in all facets, and that's definitely one of them, to get back up, go to work, have a great attitude, make no excuses, and we're maturing in that approach. So they're well aware of kind of how I feel about there's no shortcuts, there's no secret sauce. It's about a whole bunch of tiny details and doing things the right way. So our goal of building the program the correct way won't flinch in the first 32 days. It's not going to change. We got to have talent acquisition, we got to recruit, we got to develop. We got scheme implementation, and then you got cultural assessment, and then you got to repeat, and that's it. And then obviously, the thing that we're working hard right now on, and that you have to work hard on culturally in the world we live in, is making sure that nothing gets in the way of the excitement, the positivity, and optimism. And you got to push that away because it's never a way to lead your life, and it's easy in our world for these guys right now to absorb that stuff, unfortunately, because that's just kind of the way that a lot of things get put out there. So we're doing a good job of armoring ourselves and trying to stand tall amidst a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world, let alone in the microscope that we live in for college football. So I'm excited as heck to be back out here again last night. Today, we practiced last night because of the election day today. We go back at it tomorrow, and we've been fired up since we've got back and had an opportunity to turn the film on and get better, and the guys' attitude's been great. So another step forward in last night, and then we'll continue today to plug on.
Okay, a reminder to hit me up in chat if you have a question. We'll start off with Tyler Bischoff.
Hey, Marcus. For Randall Grimes and Kai Stevenson, Drew Techman, and Greg Francis, are they still with the program?
Randall Grimes, as many of you guys already saw, which was reported by a source, I think Willie had it or something. Randall Grimes is not with us for team or school rules, and I'll keep the terms of that remain in-house for respect for him as an athlete. I think it's also been granted permission through the opt-out. I believe is correct that Mackay, Techman, Neal, and Francis have agreed to be able to release their names as opt-out guys. And opt-out, you use the word, are they with the team? I think you guys can look up the NCAA rule, what that means for them. Yes, they're currently still part of a team, but they're opting out of the COVID year.
With Randall, would he be able to come back next season?
Again, the terms of that are going to be in-house, Tyler. But yes, he's suspended for this calendar year.
And then, do you think Brennan Scott and Sean Bell could get some playing time sometime soon?
We'd like to get any of those guys that are going to be ready, especially the freshmen, to get an opportunity. We've had a few freshmen and a few guys on the squad who've been, missed a week of contact tracing or this and that. And in 30 days, if you miss 2 weeks of contact tracing and you're not ready for ball, I'm not going to put guys in there who are not healthy enough or not prepared enough to go in there and do that. So those guys have done an awesome job. They both were scout guys, team player, not me, player of the week last week, and did a phenomenal job. And so we're really excited about that. And I hope there's an opportunity as we move forward that we get an opportunity to see those guys live, because again, this is the best spring ball you could ever evaluate ever. It's full tilt, and so it's awesome, man.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yep.
Let's go to Jason Orts at the RJ.
Coach, what have you seen from Max, and especially what he's done to kind of take the lead in the quarterback competition?
Well, he's improved. He's improved. I think that's bottom line. He showed improvement. He showed leadership. He's been deliberate in his approach in practice. He's worked his tail off, and I think between him and Justin, they've both done an awesome job this last 2 weeks, Max as well. But these last 2 weeks, those two guys have put themselves in position to really keep elevating the process of that position. He had marked improvement in the game. There's still a ton of stuff we left out there, unfortunately, but that's part of it. That's part of the first tidbit of learning this offense and playing in it and playing in a competitive environment versus good teams. So we'll continue to press on, but Max did a nice job.
You talk about learning the offense. Has that maybe been something that's put Max ahead a little bit? It's just his ability to kind of grasp the concepts of the offense?
No, Max and Justin, I think, as we started to install, were at the same timeline. I think Max may have neither of them got the playbook earlier than the other. I think it's been more production. Both those guys played. We'll continue to elevate and compete here each week. Those guys are still going to compete this week. That we won't be the percentage of reps will still be divvied up.
Looking at the defense as a whole, who are some of the guys that have kind of stood out there and maybe have just performed well for you guys?
Well, I think that the defense itself is with a young group. They've done you got guys that are filling in for some guys. I think up front we're doing a good job without naming too many names. I think there's times where you can see flashes where you got Plant doing some really good things. There's times where we got to improve him in certain instances. You got Naki back. Cole's doing some things. You got at linebacker Malachi's had some flashes. Done a nice job with having Vic out there a ton. On the back end with the true freshmen, they're being battle tested, which is awesome. And so we're trying to find ways and pieces for them to keep continually gain confidence and put them in a situation where they can compete versus a really talented group. For example, last week they had another one this week. So Noah Williams and Tyson Players and Bryce Jackson. I mean, that's not the name one. I won't ever usually name one.
And last one for me, just what have you been able to find out, and what have you been able to learn about Fresno State so far?
Well, I mean, they got a good base of recruiting there. As long as Coach Tedford was there, Kalen's returning to kind of where he was. Grubb has been there. The O-line coach has been there. They've done a nice job recruiting there. We've got obviously got a chance to see them for 2 weeks with the new head coach, but some carryover, I'm sure, in regards to what they're accustomed to. But they do a nice job. Rivers does a real nice job. The defense got some guys who can really play. They play hard. They don't do much. They do it well. Offensively, the quarterback's playing well, and he's a gunslinger, and so he's gonna have a heck of a time. We got a heck of a time to make sure we're planning for all of what they're gonna do. So they do a nice job. We've got to make sure we're doing ours.
Let's go to Johnny Treesh of Channel 8.
disparity of chunk plays that accumulate 15 yards or more, are those a concern? I did a rough count. It was like 23-8 opponent versus you guys. Is that something you think you can fix with your personnel and with your install?
Yeah, you want to make sure you have explosive plays and not give them up, John. I think that's part of keys to victory in what we're doing. So that's definitely something we're trying to solve each week. Try to find ways to find explosive plays, however we can do it with whoever we've got, without obviously escalating an install to the point where you're running plays they've never run. There's still a point where you've got to install things that they feel comfortable doing that are part of your base and your foundation. And then obviously you've got to limit the explosive plays.
Go to
What Fresno?
All right. Go ahead, John.
Okay. What Fresno does offensively, and getting Rivers involved in both the run and pass game, how much is that a concern? How much does that strain the defense?
A lot. I mean, we can put the running back as part of a weapon, both in the run and pass game. I think that's ideally what you want from any offense. The ability for that guy to be multiple is definitely a weapon. They do a good job with him. He's a really good player.
You good, John? All right, let's go to Edgar and RJ.
Marcus, and going back to Max and really all three, because you had such little practice this year in preparation, was it more important to you in terms of how you deal with quarterbacks in the past that they just kind of understood what you wanted, or was it more athletically and physically? Like, what kind of took paramount given the little time you had with these guys to try to find a guy who could run your offense?
Production. Simple as that. I mean, you want to go out in there and have a practice and install something you believe you can put around a group and have the quarterback be able to facilitate what you feel could be productive. And so who's ever going to have that production, I think, is, at least in our mind, is going to be a guy who we feel confident that's going to give us a chance. And both the guys who've been with us so far in the first, like I said, first 35 days or whatever it is we've got to find out what production they could have within the course of the system we put in the short time and which in game plan, and then you got to play them in the game and see how it works out.
And I guess not to give away any secrets, but do you have a percentage that you've even given them at this point, given the time you've had with them?
A percentage of what, Ed?
Like what you want ultimately with your offense. Like, I'm sure you haven't put everything in you want, but
You mean a percentage of the offense that's installed holistically?
Yeah. Like at this point that you see in the long term of what you want your offense to be.
We've probably got 65%. I think it hasn't gone much from the first 2 weeks because you don't get to you don't install a whole bunch of new stuff in 2 days of pads and 1 day of a walkthrough, or 1 day of full speed. So, we've got to be, and you've got to be conscious of that. I think I probably would have made that mistake, and like many of us, as a young coach, you just want to put in all this stuff and think it's cool, and then you don't do any of it effectively. So we got to, each week we're having a chance, each day at practice, having a chance to see what we can do in addition to managing the flow of the roster, which is really not weekly, it's daily. One contact trace or one this or one bang up injury on a really small roster, you can change a game plan in a second.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, we got any more questions? No in the chat if you do. Okay, back to Tyler.
Marcus, the most asked question I have from UNLV fans is, where'd you get the Running Rebels hats?
That was we had those. We had a few of them made by a guy who he asked about when I first got here what I knew, and I said I remember growing up with Larry Johnson posters and Sports Illustrated with all those guys on there, and they had a cool deal, and I said, hey, it'd be cool to just put it on a hat. It'd be pretty cool, and I think it helps support the whole group and fire it up about what TJ's doing and stuff like that too. And I've had the same hats for years. I literally have wore the same style hat I'm a creature of habit for many years. So supporting the group.
Gotcha. They're just custom hats, so they're going to be disappointed they can't buy them.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. No, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find. There was some other hats. I couldn't find like the old standard, simple, cheap trucker hat, and had it made.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yep.
Go to Sam Gordon at the RJ.
Hey Marcus, the other football team in town has a divisional game this weekend against the Chargers and your former quarterback Justin Herbert. What has impressed you the most about his start at the NFL and what that he's doing now, translates, or did you most see during your time at Oregon? I mean, what is he doing everything that he was doing at Oregon, or has he grown even more in the last 6 months or so?
I lost you in the middle there, Sam, from the traffic control.
What is Justin doing that's impressed you the most with the Chargers, and what kind of things has he shown you, or did you see all this kind of stuff at Oregon when he was playing for you up there when you were the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, I'm not. Justin's success is awesome. I don't unfortunately get to watch any of it, not much of it all, obviously, but we talk every week in text as I try to get through a couple things and watch the highlights or watch whatever it is. I'm not surprised by any of it. He's got all the tools, and I said that in all the pre-draft stuff and everything else. Continue to say it. He's got all the stuff around now. He's actually got some big time weapons too. So that's it's been really good, man. I'm fired up for him.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I think that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
We'll see you on Saturday.